Welcome to the Grove. Good morning, this is Grace. So it's actually morning for me. It's very early here. It's around 5 in the morning, and I've got my coffee in my lovely coffee mug, and you can hear it. I love this mug. It's really large and it has an excellent handle, and it's this gorgeous deep aubergine color, like an eggplanty purple color. And I got it at the Native American Museum in Washington, D.C. So it has all of these like really cool petroglyphs and brightly colored designs on it, and it reminds me of my lovely trip to Washington, D.C. And it's the perfect mug for a really cold winter morning. So obviously you've probably noticed that this is already quite different from most of the audios that I put out. I also, before we get started, I just want to tell you that we are going to ignore any background noises that might occur during this recording. For those of you who don't follow me on Twitter or Patreon, you may not be aware of my neighbor challenges. But I have neighbors that are quite noisy, and I live in an apartment, so I have someone above me and someone on one side of me, and it appears to be that the people on the side of me are still asleep this morning, which is good because they can be quite disruptive with their stereo and their television. But I think my upstairs neighbor is already awake because I've heard the floor creaking and the water running and a few other things that interrupt my normal recordings. So if we hear them walking around or making any noise, we're just going to ignore it this morning. We'll call that part of our background. So what I wanted to do today, I have a new set of microphones that I've been working with for a couple of weeks now. And I was really excited to get them. I have a set of NT1s from Rode. And one of the reasons that I was so excited to get these microphones is not only has it greatly improved my sound quality, but it gives me an opportunity to really explore traditional ASMR a bit more, and just to do some really fun things that I wasn't technically capable of before. So what I've done is I've taken quite a few items off my Christmas tree, and I have them here to share with you, and just also just some other sort of Christmas themed items this morning. And I wanted to tell you a story. Hence the name of the video, right? You'll hear me periodically sipping my coffee. I do Q&As and rambles for my patrons once a month on Patreon, and they're very familiar with my little coffee habit. And usually I actually have an iced latte, so I do a little bit of latte ASMR for them, where I shake the cup and, make little noises with the ice and things like that. But it's a little bit cold this morning, so I actually have a very warm, hot cup of coffee and my beautiful mug. I love the sounds this mug makes. And unfortunately, I do not have any fingernails. Well, I have fingernails, but they're very, 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 very short. I have a little bit of a bad habit of biting my nails, but also I work on a computer all day long, and so having really long manicured nails is just not very practical for me. It would make my job a lot more difficult, and they would get completely ruined by the end of the day. So I keep my nails quite short, which is great for work, but awful for ASMR. I'll have to think of alternative ways to make noises on things. So, one of the interesting things about my Christmas tree is that every ornament on my Christmas tree has a story. One of the traditions that my mom started quite early with my siblings and I is that every Christmas she would buy us an ornament. And it was something that was specialized or customized for us. So she would, she knew whatever we happened to be into that year, or if we had some big accomplishment, or if there was some aspect of our personality that made us unique and, kind of made us stood out, she would celebrate that with an ornament, which was really cool. It meant that, someone was paying attention and someone loved you enough to notice, like, the cool little unique things about you. And also everybody got something different. So, it wasn't like a competition thing that sometimes I think turns into with kids, right? Oh, you got that toy. Oh, I wanted this toy, or my toy's better than your toy, or whatever. Like, we never had any issues with that with the ornaments. And my mom just decided to continue that for us as adults. And even though now at this point in our lives, we draw names, for Christmas and kind of set a monetary limit, and, everybody gets one gift. My mom still continues to buy us ornaments sort of outside of that, gift exchange. So she's a pretty special lady. So I have some of my ornaments here to share with you and to share their stories with you, because each one has a little bit of a story behind it. So I thought that might be fun. We'll have a little ASMR Christmas story. And also a lot of them make really great sounds. So hopefully, even if I don't succeed in giving anyone tingles today, hopefully maybe this will just be relaxing and, kind of help you de-stress from the holidays, or, maybe even fall asleep. So that's my goal for today. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll put my coffee down. So one of the first ornaments that I pulled off the tree, and I'm going to try not to blow your ears out with this. So what this is, I'll describe it to you. As you can tell, it has a little jingle bell inside of it. And I don't know if everyone remembers or not, but women's pantyhose used to come in these like egg-shaped containers. And when I was in kindergarten, because I'm looking at the date, the other thing my mom always did was she wrote the date on the ornaments. So the date indicates that this would have been the year that I was in kindergarten. And it's half of a pantyhose egg. And this was actually a project that I did in school. Oh. And we took little tiny scraps of fabric and we glued them all along the outside of the pantyhose egg. So it's completely decorated with little scraps of fabric. And then there's this beautiful sort of jaguar green, emerald green, I guess. Or a little darker than that, Kelly maybe green. Ribbon that runs all along the base of the bell, basically. And my teacher, or whoever it was that prepared these craft items, drilled a hole in the very top of the bell. So the open part's at the bottom, the wide part. And the top of it has a little hole so that we could thread this silver cord through the top of it. So it can hang and it can ring like a bell. So it's like a little crafty fabric Christmas bell. And I have to say that the fabrics on the outside are, there's some red and green, blue, lots of yellow. They're not specifically Christmassy, but I must have liked them for some reason because I picked those out. I'm pretty sure that I picked out the ones I wanted to use. And then on the very bottom, it has this little like tulle-like strip that's sort of lacy and kind of makes the bottom of the bell. And I suspect this was a little craft project that we did at school for Christmas. And I just love it. I think it's really cute. But that's my bell. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, this is a good one. So this one is an all fabric ornament. It's so soft. Soft and squishy. And this year, the year this was made, which this one actually doesn't have a year written on it, but I know it's quite old. My mom found this fabric at the fabric store because she loved to sew. And she was always making us clothes, and we didn't really have a lot of money, so sewing was a way that we could have things that we couldn't afford to buy. I'm gonna get my coffee while I talk to you. So she must have been tight on money this year because she found this fabric that had all of these animal patterns, had little Christmas animals on it, and it may even been like a set of sheets. And she cut out the little animals. There's a front and a back. And she sewed them together and then stuffed them with like padding. And she gave us each one, and I got the pink one. And it's a little girl penguin because she has long eyelashes and beautiful blue eyeshadow and a cute little beak, little feminine beak. And she's wearing this fluffy, puffy red coat. And she's holding on to a blue and green striped candy cane, and she has little green mittens on. And sadly, no shoes or pants. But it's a penguin, so she probably doesn't need them. And she has on a very cute, her jacket has like a hood, and it has beautiful white fur along the trim. And she's just so cute and so happy. And I really like this one. And we had a whole set of them because each of us got one. We had cats when I was growing up. And, cats and Christmas trees don't really go very well together. So one thing that we would do is we would hang all the cloth ornaments on the bottom row of the Christmas tree so that the cats could play with them, and if they knocked them off or chewed on them, wasn't a big deal. And then all the other ornaments would be up higher where they couldn't get to them. No, theoretically where they couldn't get to them, but we all know cats can get to anything. Gotta find a better way to tap on that coffee mug for you guys. Okay, so this one, I have to be very careful with him. He's very delicate. He's quite old and very delicate. I'm trying to figure out a way to make a good noise with him. I think I'm going to get out one of my my brushes that my patrons know quite well. I have this set of brushes, probably about 20, 25 brushes, maybe more. I love the sound it makes. So I'll open up the faux leather case. Open that up. It has little magnets that hold it together. And I'll unfold it. Pull back the little cloth cover. All my brushes are right there. And they're covered in this incredibly wrinkly plastic. Wrinkly, crinkly. That makes the best crinkle noises. I'm going to take one out and I'll show you. Take a couple of them out, actually. Oh, that was loud, sorry. So here's one of the big brushes. It has this crinkly plastic on the handle to protect it. Oh my god, I can listen to that all day long. Oh, it's just the best. Oh, it's the best crinkly sound. I'm usually not a big crinkle fan, but oh god, I love that one. So I have a set of bamboo brushes with little bamboo handles. And lovely, beautiful, fluffy, soft bristles. All natural. No animal hair or anything. It's completely vegan. Here, let's brush you a little bit. One of my favorite personal triggers. Brushing the mic. I love it. since I don't have fingernails. So this ornament is a wood ornament. And it's a gingerbread man. And he's on candy cane skis. So he's little candy canes. And that's why I have to be so careful because they've broken and been glued a couple of times. And his ski poles are green sticks with green and white little mint candies on the end. Little circular ones. And he's just so adorable and so cute. And this particular ornament, it was a set of Christmas ornaments from Avon. And I don't know if a lot of people outside the U.S. are familiar with Avon. I think they're an international company, but I'm not sure how popular they are. So at the time that I was growing up, it was a very popular way for women who didn't work outside the home. So for women who were housewives, stay-at-home moms, it was a popular way for them to make a little extra income. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom. She did not work outside the home. And so, my dad worked, but we had enough money to, pay the bills and stuff, but didn't really have any extra. So my mom decided to start selling Avon as a way to make a little extra money for the family. Mainly just to be able to buy us like little gifts and stuff and just to have a little bit of pocket money, to treat us every once in a while. It certainly wasn't anything that was going to, change our income level overall or anything. So for a couple of years, she worked for Avon. So during that time period, almost every birthday and Christmas and any other particular special occasion, we were handed an Avon book and we were told to pick out what we wanted. And they mainly sell beauty products for women, like makeup and, shampoo and creams and, all that kind of stuff. But they also have like toys and ornaments at Christmas. And I think they even sell clothes now. I'm not sure. But they had quite a few other things as well. So my mom was getting our Christmas gifts, our Christmas ornaments from there for a couple of years, and this was one of them. And there was a whole set of them. So I had the gingerbread skiing guy, which is kind of interesting because I've always wanted to ski. I've always wanted to go skiing. It's something that I have really, really always wanted to try, and I've never had the opportunity. So every time I look at my little gingerbread man on his skis, I think about being in the Alps somewhere, learning how to ski, and having this amazing winter holiday, the whole ski chalet with the fireplace and hot chocolate and skiing the slopes. Just the amazing, gorgeous scenery and just being out in it and, kind of flying down the mountain. It's almost like flying, I would think. That's how I think it would be. And I love stuff like that. So this is my little ski man. As I was saying, there was actually a set of them. So my dad had the gingerbread choo-choo train, and it had little candy wheels and, kind of that theme. And I know that there were other pieces to the set that other family members got, but I can't remember any of the other ones. I just remember my dad's choo-choo train and my little gingerbread man. He's so cute. I wish you guys could see it. Yeah, so I've had several comments on my channel since I started about why I don't actually appear on camera. And, I just found a new sound. the brushes together. We're going to ignore the neighbor. He's making a little bit of noise up there. Oh, I really like that. What do you guys think? Oh, very nice. Cool, unexpected sound. Okay, so I've been asked several times why I don't actually appear on camera, and the short and simple answer is because a lot of the content that I produce is not necessarily socially acceptable. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I'm not doing anything wrong by producing that content. I think it's an absolutely beautiful art form, but unfortunately, it's not widely accepted. And this is not something that I do full time. Obviously, YouTube most certainly does not pay my bills. And so just in order to maintain my privacy, and to make sure I don't have any ramifications in my real life with my job or my family or anything else, I have to maintain my privacy. So that's why I don't appear on camera. So that's kind of the practical reason why I don't appear on camera. But there's also a creative one as well. For the type of art that I produce, the stories, the scenarios, the fantasy situations, I think that audio is a much more powerful way to present that type of art than visual would be. Because when you're presented with a visual image, a television show or a movie, you almost become a bit of a passive participant. You become an observer. So you're standing outside the scenario and you're sort of watching it. When you're listening to an audio recording, you have to be 100% fully engaged. Your imagination has to be active. You're not just an observer anymore. You become a participant. And I think it becomes a much more powerful medium at that point because you are fully engaged and you're a participant in the creation of the art. Just like when you read a book, you have to be engaged and you have to participate in that. And so, I also love the medium of audio. I think that it's a really, really powerful medium. And I enjoy the, I guess, anonymity and freedom that it gives me. Because, I don't have to worry about people recognizing me when I'm out. And of course, then there's the practical issue that I, mentioned a little bit earlier as well. So that's why I do audios and I don't do videos. But at times like this, when I have these beautiful, interesting ornaments in front of me, I wish I could show them to you. Maybe what I'll do is I'll take photographs of them and sort of have them on the screen while I'm talking about them. I could do that. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. When you're watching this, I guess you'll see what I decided. So the thing I have in front of me that I've sort of been brushing, and I'm not sure if you could even hear me brushing it, it's kind of quiet. It's another wooden ornament. This one is a star, and it's about as big as my palm, the palm of my hand, a little bit bigger. And it's got this white sort of crackle paint on it. So the crackles kind of have a little bit of like blue-gray behind them. And it has like a nutcracker soldier painted on the front of it. And it has like this, I'm not even sure what it is. It's sort of supposed to be fake snow that's kind of sparkly. It has glitter all over it. And it's sort of on the edges of the star. It makes it look like there's snow. And it has this gold ribbon at the top, like a little gold strand to hang from the tree. And a gold ribbon tied in a bow with red at the very top of it. It's really pretty. And one thing that I absolutely love about Christmas, I actually collect them, are nutcrackers, because that's my absolutely favorite ballet in the whole world is the Nutcracker. And I don't know, I just love them. I have all different kinds. I have like this whole case of them where they're sort of different professions. So, one's like a little fisherman, and, one is like a sailor, and, they're not necessarily Christmas themed. I just think they're so cool, and there's so many different ones that you can get. And I don't know, there's just something about them, and something about that ballet and that story that just sort of captured my attention when I was quite young, and just sort of has held it this entire time. And on the back, my mom wrote the date, and she wrote "Love, Mom." She tried to sign as many of the ornaments as she could so that when she's not with us anymore, we could still look at this and think about her. I think that's cool. I really like that one. I have quite a few Nutcracker ornaments from her, just because that's something that has sort of remained consistent about me throughout the years. That's something that I really like. And the first time I ever saw a ballet, because like I said, we didn't really have much money when I was a kid, and going to the ballet or the opera or the theater or anything like that was just wasn't part of our life. And so I was in school, and it was a field trip that we took to this theater in our hometown that was a historic theater. So it was quite old, and the Historical Society had, kind of named it this historic theater. It was really beautiful. It was one of the most beautiful places I'd ever seen. It was super ornate, and, wood carvings everywhere, and gilded ceilings and frescoes, and, the red velvet curtains on the stage, and the old wooden chairs, with like red velvet cushions. And it was to, a child who'd only seen things like that in like Disney movies or, in her own imagination and the books that she read. It was overwhelming to see something like that in person, to see that beauty in person. And I still, to this day, get overwhelmed when I see, these beautiful places. And I remember, it was so magical. And we sat in these red velvet cushioned chairs, and the lights went out, and the music came on, and it was a live orchestra. And I'd never heard like classical music before, live like that, or even, classical music really wasn't anything that we listened to. And the curtains opened, and the dancers came out, and oh my God, their costumes were incredible. And just the way they moved. I didn't know that human bodies could be so beautiful. It was amazing. Even now, thinking back about it, I'm getting overwhelmed. It was life-changing, transformative. The arts change lives. They're important. And we need to support them as much as possible in any form that they take. Whether it be YouTube creators, audio artists, dancers, writers, poets, artists, painters. There are people making amazing art with electronics and computers. I think even video games and, movies and cartoons, all of that. There's just so many ways to express yourself, and I think it's important that we nurture that and foster that and support that, especially in our schools. I think it's a real tragedy, at least in the U.S. school system, that, we've eliminated a lot of the extracurricular activities, including art. And, I just think that that's really awful, because the main way that I was exposed to all of those things was through school, through the public school system, because I wasn't getting it at home. It just wasn't something that we had access to or that we were, even knowledgeable about. Like my parents, my mom was from a very, very poor agricultural background. They didn't even have a television when she was growing up. They barely had running water, indoor plumbing, So, a lot of kids get exposed to the arts through the public school system, and I think it's really important. So that's going to be my soapbox issue for the day. And my patrons will know that I always get sidetracked on these issues. All of my little pet soapbox issues. So let's continue on with our ornaments, shall we? And this is one of the great things I have to say about having these sort of touchstone mnemonic items, is that, it always triggers a memory, it triggers an experience. Christmas is an experience for me. It's like a flood of memories. It's, it's a time to be reflective and thankful and grateful and, and even sort of look ahead. And that's what these do for me. So this one's pretty cool. It's like this red felt material. It's kind of faded now. It's almost pink. It used to be red. And there's this white lace at the top and a little red tulle little loop. And the date is written down in the bottom corner. And there's a little cutout in the center where there's a photograph of my mother. So based on the date, this was around the time I was in junior high school. And I remember it was after my dad had passed away and we had moved across the country. And our circumstances were quite different because, as I said, my mother was a housewife. And so after my father died, we had life insurance and we had Social Security. And then my mom had to work, find a job. And she had no education, and she had been out of the workforce for almost 12 or 13 years at that point. And even when she had been in the workforce, it was just, it was just sort of entry-level, jobs. So she had to find work, and we didn't have a lot of money, even less money than we had before. And we were alone, and we were halfway across the country and didn't really know anybody. So it was a rough time for us. And that was a hard Christmas. And so my mom, as she frequently did, decided to be crafty and get out her craft supplies. And she made these little red felt stockings for us. And she put a cute little picture of herself in it so that we could have a photo of her. And yeah, these were the little ornaments that she gave us that year. She looks so young in this photograph. I like this one. She's smiling and she's sort of bent down by these really pretty flowers, and it's sunshine, beautiful day. She looks happy. It's a good picture. Okay. Oh, here's these. Oh, these should make a good sound. So this is ceramic chili peppers, and they're tied together with this sort of straw kind of cord. It's tied into a bow. And I got these in New Mexico on a trip there around Christmas time. And I was actually in this Christmas market in the middle of the old town square, with the old Pueblo buildings, and it was just starting to snow just very lightly. And I got these from one of the vendors who had their blanket laid out because they allow that there. And it always reminds me of New Mexico. I think it's so beautiful there. And I love these. I love chili peppers. It's another thing that I have a lot of around my house. Sort of one of my decor things. But those are really cute. And they're bright red and have little green tops on them. And they're sort of bent into like little curvy directions. Just like real chili peppers would be. They're very cute. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully you guys are relaxed, enjoying yourselves. And this is an ornament that actually made me cry this year. I'm not sure how much noise it's going to make. There we go. It's not ceramic, it's like a resin kind of material. It's a little doggy bone. And it has a red cloth ribbon. And a little sprig of like resin holly, little holly berries on it. And it says my little dog's name. And he's not with me anymore. I lost him a few years ago. He crossed the Rainbow Bridge. And I wasn't expecting to find his ornament in my Christmas stuff this year. And when I was unpacking the box, there it was, just sitting right on the top. And I had a good little cry. and then I smiled, remembering how wonderful he was. And then I put this on my tree, and so I can have little happy memories of him whenever I look at it. And it's kind of funny because this was actually also an ornament from my mom. And on the back she wrote the date, and she wrote "Love Grandma," because he was her little grand dog. So yeah, that was cute. That made me smile too. So this one should make a really great sound. So this one is like blown glass, but it's like the old-fashioned kind of blown glass ornaments. And it's Santa, but it's like kind of old Victorian Santa, or maybe even older than that. And he's got flowing royal purple and gold sort of robes, and then his red velvety Santa coat with like white glittery trim all around it, and his beard is beautiful, full, white, flowing, full of glitter all the way down. He's got little green mittens on, and he's holding a little Christmas tree. It's like a wire Christmas tree, almost like a pipe cleaner. That's what it reminds me of. And he's got holly in his hair, and he's got a beautiful, beautiful face. Kind, happy face. And I just love this because I love the old-fashioned glass ornaments. I just think they're so beautiful. And yeah, I really love this. And I think I was really, really into like the Santas for a while, like sort of the old-fashioned Santas. And my mom got me this one in honor of that. And I really like him. And I literally have glitter everywhere. I'm really hoping it didn't get in the mics. Oh, there's glitter on so many of these things. Okay. We should probably see how long I've been talking to you guys for. I think it's been a while now. Oh yeah, it's been almost an hour. Okay, so I have a few more things here, but I'm going to just pick a couple more to show you. So one thing that I definitely wanted to get in is some tissue paper, because I love the sound of that. Oh God, I love that. That definitely sets my tingles off. This tissue paper is so adorable. It's white, and it has green and red and blue writing on it. And it says, "Jingle bells, deck the halls, cheer, peace, joy, rejoice, Noel, happy holidays." And it has little Christmas trees all over it. That's just so cute. Oh, I love that. And let's see if you can guess what this is. It's beautiful gold and silver tinsel. Silver and gold, silver and gold. Silver and gold decorations My recording studio is going to look like a glitter explosion. Okay. Ooh, this is nice. Velvet, red velvet, and white fluff. What do you think that is? With a big ball of white fluff right on top. Oh, it's Santa's hat. He must have left it here. So soft. Oh my God. Oh, it's wonderful. Beautiful, gorgeous Santa hat. Okay, so I just have one more thing to show you. And then our time's going to be up, unfortunately. So this was a bit of an experiment for me, mainly just to play around with my mics, but also just to, have a little ramble. I do these, like I said, quite often on Patreon once a month, but I don't really do them very often on YouTube. I thought it might be fun just for you guys to learn a little bit more about me and for me to say hi, do something a bit more traditional ASMR-y for you, and just for us just to hang out for like an hour. So the last thing that I have is actually something pretty cool. Can you tell what it is? It's a book. It's a book called My Special Christmas. And the subtitle is A Personalized Story About You and Santa. And it was sent to me. My mother actually had these made for each of us, and it was a very, very special surprise. It came special delivery from Santa, is what the package said. And it was mail that was addressed to me, which, as a child, when you get a piece of mail addressed to you, that's pretty exciting. Well, it used to be. I know we don't use the post much anymore, but at the time there was no internet or anything like that. So the post was how you got all of your news or correspondence from family. So it was very exciting. So whenever you open the book, there's a snowman and a little elf writing on it, and it says, "This book was written especially for Grace, with love and kisses from Mom." So I'm going to read you this story, and that's how we're going to go ahead and end our time together. I'll tell you a story. 'Tis the night before Christmas, and Santa Claus would be coming down the chimney any minute. Suddenly, an elf appeared. On his foot, he was wearing a shoe of gold. "My name is Golden Toe," he said. "I'm one of Santa's helpers, and I'm looking for someone to help Santa Claus." The little girl looked surprised. "My name is Grace," she said. "I've been waiting for Santa with my friend Heather and my pet Fluffy." Golden Toe continued. "Santa said to look for a girl whose birthday is June 20th. Grace shouted, "That's my birthday." The elf asked, "Is this Main Street in Sioux City? You must be the one Santa had in mind for a special job. Can you and your friend come with me to meet Santa?" "Oh, yes," they said. "There's no time to waste," said Golden Toe. They all jumped in the sleigh and soared off towards the north. They passed over frozen lakes and forests. "Not far now," Golden Toe called. "Where's Santa Claus?" Grace asked. "He's busy, but he left you a note," said Blue Nose, another of Santa's helpers. "He wants you to go to 5 places and pick up something very important. There's a jet sled ready for you," Blue Nose said. "Golden Toe will show you the way. Good luck, Grace." And the picture is Santa's workshop with all the little elves running around. And in the background, there's a little chalkboard, and it says people to call for help. And it says Grace and Heather, who was my best friend. They blasted off in the sled. First they soared high over the Atlantic Ocean, then low over the hills of Scotland. They landed in an English village. Standing by the road was Father Christmas, the Santa Claus of England. Father Christmas said, "Hello, I've been expecting you. Come along with me." They entered a warm, cozy cottage. Father Christmas looked around the room. He saw a big letter E by the fireplace. "Ah, there it is," he said. "Here, Grace, this is what Santa wanted you to have." He handed Grace the letter E. "But what is it?" Grace asked. "Anybody can see it's an E." Grace was confused. "But what will I do with it?" Father Christmas chuckled. "You'll find out." And there's Father Christmas standing by his big fireplace with a big letter E that says, "For Grace." The jet sled headed east across the English Channel. Golden Toe pointed ahead and said, "There's Holland. The streets are pretty narrow, so let's land on the canal." Next to the canal, whom do you think they saw? It was St. Nicholas. They landed the jet sled. I love that we have a jet sled. Then they got out, slid across the ice-covered canal, and went up to St. Nicholas. "Santa Claus said you had something for us," the elf said. "And so I have," St. Nicholas replied. "Come with me down Nicholas Street, and I'll get it for you." "I feel very proud that they named a street after me," he said. And there's windmills, because it's Holland. And he's wearing those little Holland, wooden shoes. St. Nicholas walked along Nicholas Street until he found a letter C. He reached up and took it. "I want you to have this," he said. "C stands for Christmas, but it has other meanings too." St. Nicholas smiled. "And now you'd best be going. I expect you have other people to see tonight." He waved goodbye, and the jet sled zoomed off for France. The jet sled glided to a stop in a small French village on a street called Pierre Noël Avenue. "That looks familiar," they said, pointing to the sign. "Whose name is that?" Golden Toe answered, "That's Pierre Noël. He's the jolly old man who gives presents to the good children of France. Let's see if we can find him." And the picture has the Eiffel Tower in the background. They found Pierre Noël delivering toys to boys and girls. He stopped and stared closely at his visitors. "Ah," he said, "you must be the children Santa Claus told me about. Well, I have something for you. Here it is." He then handed them a large letter P. It has a little sprig of holly on it. As they started back to their sled, they noticed that there were many cafes up and down the streets. Golden Toe told them, "The French are famous for their food. Look, most of the cafes are open all night." Golden Toe guided them back to their jet sled and took off for Germany. "That looks like Chris down there," said Golden Toe when they were flying over a Bavarian village. They landed, and Golden Toe led them to Kris Kringle. "Hi, old buddy," said Golden Toe. "Here are some friends I want you to meet." Kris Kringle shook hands with each of them and said, "You must be the children Santa chose for a special job. By the looks of that signpost, you have a long way to go." "Yes," the elf agreed. "Let's hurry." So the signpost has a sign that says Russia with an arrow pointing to the right, and Bethlehem with an arrow pointing to the left, North Pole sort of pointing backwards, and France. "I have something for you," said Kris Kringle. He rummaged in his pack and brought forth a letter A. Handing it to the children, he said, "Don't lose it. It's very important." He waved to them, and the jet sled whizzed into the air. The children said, "Where are we going now?" Golden Toe replied, "We're going to Russia." They asked, "What do all those letters mean? We have a C, and an A, and a P, and an E. They spell cape." Golden Toe said, "Well, there are capes that keep you warm. There's Cape Horn and the Cape of Good Hope." "Yes," they replied, "but what does cape mean? What does this cape mean?" At the last stop, Russia, Grace and Heather met Babushka. She's the old woman who searches forever and ever for the 3 wise men. While she journeys, she rewards good children with presents at Christmas. Without a word, she gave the children on the jet sled a letter E. Then she kept on with her long journey. Golden Toe pointed the jet sled northward, and they all began their trip home. Golden Toe said, "One way you can always get to the North Pole is to follow the northern lights. There they are now." "See, I told you it was easy to find the North Pole," said Golden Toe. Grace was surprised to see the northern lights. Heather was playing with the letters. "I still don't see what they're for," she said. "Santa Claus must know the answer," Golden Toe told them. Santa Claus was waiting for them when they arrived. At least Santa Claus would know the secret of the E, C, P, A, and E. So this is a picture of like Santa's house with the reindeer and the sled in front of it, and the northern lights are painted all along both pages, and they're pink and purple and yellow and green and blue. It's beautiful. And the jet sled is zooming in for a landing. Santa Claus greeted them warmly. Grace said, "We were wondering why you sent us to 5 different places in the world to collect some letters." Santa laughed. "I bet you're wondering." He answered, "Come with me, Grace and Heather, and I'll show you." Santa Claus took each of the letters and walked to a snow-covered hillside. "I thought you children would like to know one of the true meanings of Christmas," he said. As he placed the letters in the snow, they spelled out peace. Santa chuckled. "Peace. That's my Christmas wish to every boy and girl, and their parents too, in the whole wide world." When Grace finally got home, she discovered that Santa had been in Sioux City. There were presents for Grace and Heather and Fluffy. Grace had learned another meaning of Christmas. It was the best Christmas she ever had. And there's a picture of a Christmas tree and presents all around, and a fireplace with stockings, and there's 3 presents, each labeled Fluffy, Grace, and Heather. And that was my special Christmas. And you can see that they personalized the book. You had to tell them your child's name, your child's best friend, and your child's pet. And also the city that they lived in and their birthday. And then they would personalize the book for you. And I believe that my siblings each got one as well, if I remember correctly. And I can't remember if all the stories were the same or if they were like different. You could choose from different scenarios, but this one was mine, and it was my special Christmas. And another reason that made it so special is because ever since I was very young, I have been just, all I've wanted to do is travel, to see the world, to see all of these places that were in this book, and many more. And I've been able to do that a bit, not as much as I'd like to. I don't think I could ever do it as much as I'd like to. But I've been to a few of those places now, and it just made me want to travel even more. So that's another reason why this book is really special, because it really ignited my imagination, I guess. And thinking about all these places and all the different traditions, different cultural traditions for Christmas and different things. So that was my special little book. And I've been talking to you for over an hour now, and I still have to edit this. So unfortunately, it's time to sign off. So I'm going to give you a bit more crinkle and give you some good crinkle. So good. I love that crinkly sound. All right, well, I hope that you enjoyed my ASMR Christmas story, and I'm hoping that it was relaxing and fun and just a way to kind of de-stress for a while. Maybe you got a few tingles. That would be a bonus. And hopefully you just learned a little bit more about me, and we had a nice just had a nice little hour together. So, if you haven't done so already, please be sure to follow me on Twitter. I'm on there a lot, and that's where you can get a lot of information about what's going on with my channel, with different social media platforms that I'm on, with my website. So there's a lot of information there. And also, that's where I interact usually the most with people. And, if you really enjoyed this video, or you like my other videos, be sure to hit subscribe and make sure that you also click the bell if you want to get notifications when new videos post. I do try to post on Wednesdays and Sundays every week, but right now I'm doing a 12 Days of Christmas event from the 13th of December through Christmas Eve, and I'll be posting one video a day, every day in that time period. So you'll see a little bit more content from me. All right, guys, this was really fun. Definitely a little bit different, but I had a great time. And I'm hoping to start doing more sort of traditional ASMR videos in the future. While that certainly won't be all that I ever do, I would like to work that into my content a little bit more. So I'd love to hear your feedback on how this went. So leave it down in the comments below. And I hope that you all have a very, very, very Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. If you celebrate Hanukkah, I know we're kind of in the middle of it, so happy Hanukkah. And Kwanzaa, of course, and any other winter holidays, Yule, or even if you don't celebrate at all, I hope you have a wonderful December. So many different interesting traditions and cultures. Yeah. It just makes the world a more amazing place. Okay, guys, that's me signing off, and I will see you next time. Bye.